1 second, guys, we're going live and we're going to get going here. As I said, we may end up doing 2 trainings today, or we might actually just go over this first one a little bit more because this is outside of the last 4 weeks that we've done. That's off, okay. Outside of the last 4 weeks that we've done, this is one of the most important trainings that you will take. Can everybody on Zoom see my screen? And somebody just raised their hand. You can see it. Okay. All right. Play from the start. And use slideshow. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is getting the listing. So the last couple weeks, for those of you that have been with us from the beginning, I know you guys here have really kind of done the beginning training straight through. We started with your business plan. So every person that takes my training should know, to a man, how many people they need to speak to in a day to reach their goal. And we talk about what a conversation was compared to just a contact, making sure that you actually have that real estate conversation, you have a follow-up plan, even if it's a person that's not interested right now. We went through that. The last 4 weeks, we went through, now you know how to talk to the people. Who do I call, right? We did the 18 places to find prospects. What do I say to them? And I taught you IICCC, right? Identify that you're speaking to the decision maker before telling them who you are. Then introduce yourself. First C, find out what they're committed to, right? Or no, I'm sorry. The first C is the reason for your call, what they're committed to, and then a call to action. So we learned that whole process. Hopefully you guys are practicing that. If you don't have a script partner, get yourself a script partner. You should be doing script rehearsals every day. You can do them even, you don't have to do them with another realtor. You can even do them with a spouse or a friend, but you want to practice to get these things down. So we taught you how to get appointments. Well, that's all well and good. But now guess what? You're going to have an appointment. You got to know what to say to the appointment. So these next 4 sessions, prospecting first or powerful listing conversations, is going to teach you what to do now that you've made the appointment. So you called that for sale by owner, you got the appointment. Now I got to go to their house. What do I do? So that's why Bev's question was so perfect about pricing, because pricing is a big part of this. So let's talk a little bit about it. First of all, in this industry, you're going to hear people talk all the time about, I have a listing presentation today. Oh, you're going on a listing presentation. Come in this office and say the word presentation and I'll chop your tongue off. Why? I don't want you having a presentation. I see you laughing. That's great. I want you to have a conversation. Presentation's what I'm doing right now, right? You guys are sitting over there. A couple of you don't even have your cameras on. You know why that probably is? Because they're sleeping. Or they got toothpicks in their eyes trying to stay awake, listen to my boring dialogue. It's okay. You don't have to turn your cameras on. I get it. If I came into your house and started talking at you like I am here, lecturing, right? It's appropriate here. It's not appropriate when somebody's getting ready to sell their house. Instead, we want to have a conversation. And one of the things, and we'll talk about this more, but I'm just going to say this since it's on top of my head, is we want every person that we're talking to be a part of that conversation. So if I walk into a house right now, and I've got Daniel as the husband on one side and Bev on the other side as the wife, and Bev and I are, and Daniel's sitting over here, not paying attention, not engaged, whatever else, I may have this false sense, man, I'm getting this listed. But what's going to happen when it comes time to sign if I never engaged you? You're going to be like, whoa, what? No, I'm not doing this. So one of the things, and we'll talk about this more as we get into our new acronym that you're going to learn, is you have to get everybody involved, and it needs to be conversation. One thing to remember is I don't care if you've sold, I was talking about Janet earlier that sold over 10,000 new constructions.
Yeah.
If she goes to a house of somebody that lived in it for 20 years, even though she sold 10,000 houses, who's going to know the house better? The person that's lived in it day in and day out.
Right.
And if you make them feel as though they're part of the process, right? if you make them feel like I'm not just coming in here pushing you out of the way and I'm going to sell your house, but we're going to do this as a partnership, not only are they going to feel more comfortable with you and you're going to build a rapport and build a relationship, but they're going to take some responsibility in this. So God forbid nobody comes to see the house. Guess what? They were part of the decision-making process. We go and brainstorm together instead of your marketing plan stinks, right? Or any of those types of things. So the key components of a listing conversation is this. First of all, you want to educate the homeowner. Remember, you guys are not salespeople. If you look at yourself as salespeople in this business, you're going to fail. And most realtors do, and that's why there's a top 10% of realtors. There's kind of this little group in the middle, and then there's all the stuff, people struggling. You guys are coaches and advisors. If you had a legal problem, where would you go? A lawyer. Right. If you had a tax problem, where would you go? An accountant. If you have a real estate problem, where do you go? A realtor. And you guys need to look at yourselves that way. I say this often, but my friend Paulie, who was with me at ERA, one of the partners there, and we used to go back and forth about name tags. I'm like, name tags make you look like you work at Best Buy. I'm sorry. He would scream about, I go into the grocery store every time and people see the name tag and start talking real estate. I can't tell you how many clients I've had from it. Whatever. It doesn't, I'm not sitting here trying to tell you to wear one or not wear one. But my point is that we need to act like professionals because we are professionals. And however you choose to do that, understand this. When you talk to anyone, not just listings, anyone, the first key to gaining their trust, gaining their respect, gaining whatever is educating them. Most people in real estate, and it's gotten worse since the advent of reality TV, list them and leave them. Is it list them and leave them? Love them and list them. What is that show?
Love or listed.
Love it or list it. That's it. There was a TV show I was actually on as a guest. It was called Beachfront Bargain Hunt. Anybody remember that one? I had a house that was on the beach in Brigantine, New Jersey that was only, looked like now it's like, my God, it was $600,000 and had a beautiful view of the Atlantic Ocean. Now that house is worth $3 million, whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyway, people watch these shows. Anybody here, I won't shame you. Anybody here a Gordon Ramsay fan? Watch what's Hell's Kitchen? You ever see Hell's Kitchen? Yeah. Okay. You watch Hell's Kitchen, you think you could be a head chef, right? Now, I love to cook. Anybody that's coming here Thursday, you're going to see I love to cook, whatever. Or you guys came to our Thanksgiving thing. I'm not going to go run a Michelin star kitchen. I don't have that ability, but you watch a show, you feel like you can. Real estate's always been that way, even before reality TV, and reality TV has made it worse. And so the key around that is to set yourself up as an expert. And when we go into a listing appointment, it's more important than ever, but it's important with buyers and whatever else. And one of the best ways to do that is to educate them. People don't know what they don't know. I do this as an old organizational leadership trick that I learned when I was getting my doctorate. Take a sheet of paper. I need to make a graphic of this. Put a dot on a sheet of paper, just a little dot, okay? Then take a circle and circle that dot, okay? The dot is everything that you know. The circle, everything inside the circle are things that you don't know, but you don't know them. So for example, if you hit me right now with a calculus problem, I'm going to tell you I know that I don't know calculus. I can probably do a little trigonometry. I can do algebra. I never took calculus. So I can't do calculus. I know that I don't know that. Outside of that circle, which goes through wherever, never ends, infinity, is what you don't know that you don't know. And in real estate, especially with for sale by owners, we talked about this 3 weeks ago in that class, especially with people that you're going to list their house for them in a meeting like this. They don't know what they don't know. An easy example is this. People think that they can sell the house on their own as a for sale by owner, that all they have to do is get some flyers together, get a little sign from Ace Hardware, put it in their yard, a couple flyers at work, a couple flyers at the grocery store. They're going to find a buyer and everything's good. First of all, it's not that easy, but let's say it was that easy. Oh, I got the hard part done. I found a buyer. No, you didn't, because you have no clue of what contract to close is all about. Is everybody seeing a blank slide? Because you should not be.
Yeah, I see a
Blank
blank
slide?
slide.
You see a blank slide. Hold on, let me share again.
It's fine.
No, 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 I'll get it. Here, now, how about now? Okay, good. So the key here is, and something is another side note is, remember when you're going on a listing conversation, yes, you want to educate them and show them your value and whatever. Also understand that when you go on a listing conversation, this is kind of the mindset before we go in. Don't worry, we're going to move from this slide, I promise. Is you have to remember that the person may not be considering the Coldwell Banker guy down the road. Any of our Coldwell Banker people on today? So I rip it on you guys because we own Coldwell Bankers too, for you guys that don't know, up in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Okay. You're not necessarily only competing against the Coldwell Banker guy. They may not have told you, but they might be thinking, well, let's hear what this guy has to say. Maybe grab a couple marketing tips, and I'm going to be a for sale by owner. Nobody walks into a listing agreement with that mindset. Go in realizing that you may be competing with another agent, but you may also be competing with the fact that they want to sell it on their own. So you want to educate. Second thing you want to do is advise the homeowner. So now that I've educated you, right? And you realize this is a good way to sell. This is my marketing plan. This is all those things. And don't worry, you're like, well, what marketing plan? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. You now need to advise them. You always advise them to do the things that you educated them about. Let's use a real simple one. I'm going to give you a list of showing tips. Make sure that you open the blinds before people come in. Make sure you light a candle. Make sure that your dog hair is all vacuumed up, whatever. Make sure that I sold a house. It's probably, to put it in today's terms, it's probably a $2 million house now. It wasn't then because this was 10, 12 years ago. It's one of my agent's parents. And she was her first sale, and the father wanted me to go with her because I guess he didn't trust his daughter. So I did. We hired a professional photographer. And the day of the photo shoot, he's got a ironing board with all these clothes all over the place in his bedroom. He says, just take pictures around it. I know. Anyway, he did not take my advice, but anyway. And then third part is invite them to take action consistent with their goals. Educate them, advise them to do what you're telling them to do, and then invite them to take action that's consistent with their goals. If you think about that all through this presentation now that we're going to do, and I can say the word presentation, so I'm presenting to you, but in your conversation, you'll see that this works. Okay, so our process, remember the IICCC, from Prospecting for Success. By the way, if you missed Prospecting for Success, I have all of these on demand. Go to my YouTube at America's Gurus. If you go to the playlist, it'll see Prospecting for Success or PFS, probably, whatever. Go in there. You'll see 101, 102, 103, 104. There are multiples of it because I go live and just put them in there every time I do it. They should all be the same, but I would always do the most recent one in case I added something new. So what is REAL? What does it stand for, and how do I do it? First thing I'm going to do is build rapport. I need them to like me, and they need to like you. And I'm going to go through each step, so I'm not going to break them down here. Second thing is you need to engage them. Find out. What do I always tell you guys to find out when you talk to anybody? Anybody? What do I tell you to find out? No. When you're getting to know the person.
What are they committed to?
What are they committed to? Ding, ding, ding. Every conversation you have with anybody at the grocery store, anywhere, find out what they're committed to. Committed to living in my house till I die. Okay, it's fine. You know anybody else? It's not. I'm thinking about moving in 2 years when I retire. Find out what they're committed to. Third part is advise them. Advising has 3 parts, which I'm going to go through those 3 parts with you. It's a little different because this PowerPoint I wrote in 2014. I've kind of whittled this down, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But we advise you, first of all, about you and your company. Talk about yourself, your areas of expertise. If you're newer, talk about other experiences you've had, and talk about the company. brands by Integra, Century 21, or Cobalt Banker. We are the second largest real estate franchise in the world for any company. We did 2 billion with a B dollars in business in last year. It's huge, guys. Second A, advise them of your marketing plan. Your marketing plan should be 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It should be the longest part of this entire thing. Telling them what you do. And I'm going to teach you guys a special way to do this. It's going to make this, I call it the laundry list, is what everybody else is. I'm going to teach you not to do that. And I think you've taken the intro class, so you've already heard this. And for anybody that's taken the intro class, you've heard this because I take those intro classes from these four. We're going to go more in depth on that today. The third advice them of the price. What we were doing when you guys jumped on, when Bev and I were talking about how to find the price of a house. Advise them the professional expert, your professional expert opinion of how they should price their house. Because you notice Bev said this because knows they're going to price money. Of course they are. Everybody wants to. We'll talk about that. We also, just so you guys know, I don't go real in depth in these four courses and that, because I have one of my favorite classes to teach, which is one of my favorite outside of prospecting that I think everybody needs to know and make sure you're around for it. It's Objection Handling Success 103. It's called The Pricing Conversation. And we're going to teach you how to walk out with the right price every time. How many people here have ever taken a listing and all excited I got a listing, but you knew you priced it for too high? Don't be shy. You can raise your hands. I put both. Okay. I put both my hands up, Barry. I've done it. I'm going to teach you so that never happens again. And wait, you've done that, Bill, but you know better. Well, do it. Those who can do, those who can't teach, I teach. All right. It's fallen for me. The couple of times I've done it, it's because it's been friends and I've been a pushover. But don't, like I say, do as I say, not as I do. All right. And then the final L in real is list. It's as simple as that. So let's look at each step and dig in a little bit deeper. Building rapport. A lot of you guys aren't from here, but depending on where you're from, you probably know of a realtor that is just the realtor of your area, right? We have a team here called the Duncan Duo. You guys heard of the Duncan Duo? No, they haven't done that good a job then. The Duncan Duo probably spends $30,000 to $40,000 a month on advertising. That's how much business they do. They are the official realtor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're on all the Lightning things. They have billboards everywhere. They're on television. They're on whatever. And that's who they are. Okay? I want you to pretend you're the Duncan Duo, and wherever else you guys are from, you can probably think of that top realtor. If you come to my house and I don't like you, does it matter that you're the Duncan Duo? No. You could be the emperor of the world and come in my house, the emperor of real estate. You could be the president of the National Association of Realtors. If I don't like you, I'm not going to use you. Building rapport is important that they like you, but also that you like them. Because if they don't like you or you don't like them, this isn't going to work. And I don't need to go through any more, but as I wrote here, you can have the best systems, the best company, the best everything. It's not going to work. Okay. So when you go to the door, you want to just open with a friendly greeting. We're going to talk about in the very last course, which I don't know if Suzanne was in that class too. I think two of you have already taken this class. I think Bev, you took this class, the personality class. One of the things that we delve into that, and we have some deeper stuff. Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. Is understanding when you're talking to somebody, and when you're building the relationship and the rapport with people, how important it is to understand their personalities. And how important rapport is. So there are things that you can do And one of the other things we talk about in there is your demeanor. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more here. Make sure you're smiling. Oh, and what I was going to say is what's in that training is we teach what's called the mirror technique. If anybody wants to learn more about the mirror technique, you can meet with me one-on-one. These days, you can go on and find out a little more about it on ChatGPT or on Google. But the mirroring technique, what that is trying to kind of match the energy and the appearance and whatever of the person in front of you. But a couple things when you meet people, make sure you give them a firm handshake. Make sure you look them in the eyes. Make sure you smile when you greet them. You only have one chance to make a good first impression. And within the first 5 seconds of somebody meeting you face to face, they make hundreds of judgments about you. People don't realize that. Hundreds of judgments. And you do it to other people. You don't even think about it, but you do. So say something like, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet you. However it plays out, because you're already going to have a relationship from your phone conversation. When you get to the house, and we're going to practice this, guys. For anybody you can come in the office, I really want you to come in the office so we can practice this. This is the one of all the script masteries that I would say to you, if you can get in an office, please do. And if you guys don't live close to here, some of you guys that are from other offices, get me with your broker and I'll talk them through this to teach you how to do this. Because what we do is I'll throw you outside of the office and have you pretend this is a house and have you knock on the door. And I will set up to have, usually I do it, or if there's multiple people, we have multiple people do it in different places, but I'll have 2 people like acting like a husband and a wife to do this, because the physical is just as important as the verbal when it comes to a listing appointment. So the first thing you're going to do is when you come in their house is go to their kitchen table, set your stuff down, but don't sit down. You're then going to ask them if you can take a tour of the house. And you want to ensure that all decision makers go with you. Oh, don't worry, my wife can take you. Oh, my husband will take you. I'll meet you back here. Would you please both go? You've both lived here a long time, and you both have different opinions of different things of the house. I really want to get to know your house intimately. This shows you care. Why are you really doing it? Yeah, you want to learn about the house. You want to build rapport with them. And building rapport with them when you walk through the house is a lot easier than when you sit down at the kitchen table. By the way, does anybody know why you go to the kitchen table? Not the dining room table or the living room? It's the friendly room in the house. It's where they sit in their pajamas. Let's hope they wear pajamas. Anyway, it is. It's the casual room in the house. I have a formal living room. My dog sits in there quite often. He's ruining my furniture. We won't get into that, but I never sit in there. No TV in there. Only sitting there. I sit on my lanai, right? When I lived in New Jersey, I had a beautiful dining room. I had my table would seat 24 people. It was a long, beautiful room. I had all this stuff and whatever. In the years I lived there, I hosted 4 Thanksgivings every other year. So like 4 Thanksgivings. I think I did Easter every year. And I had a couple dinner parties. So let's call it 15 times I sat at that table ever. If you went and sat me down there, I'm not comfortable. Sit me down, I didn't have a kitchen table there, but whatever, I had a little island thing. But you sit me down at a kitchen table, it's where people eat all their meals. That's the point. When you're walking through the house, make sure you praise the good things. Wow, that woodwork is absolutely beautiful. Don't blow smoke up their keister. Just say things that are, nice. Subtly point out flaws. Be very careful about this. One of the things that you want to be careful of, I had a house, oh God, and somehow I sold it for more than it was listed for, and I had overpriced that one, talking about pricing, but it was in 2020, 2021 when things were ridiculous. Those people must have buyer's remorse. They had 4 or 6, I don't know, there was like Great Dane-sized dogs. They had them lined up in a crate when people came to see the house. It looked like death row in their bedroom. Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're here at the prison now. Yeah, anyway, this house smelled like dog when you went in. And worse, the baseboards were all just beat up from dogs. Right. How do you tell somebody that the dog, which many people look at their dogs better than they look at their kids? I don't have kids. I look at my dog, probably whatever. you got to be careful. You don't want to insult them. But at the same time, when you can subtly point out flaws. If you just go and blow smoke up, whatever, oh, that's beautiful, that's beautiful, that's beautiful, that's beautiful, and don't be like, yeah, you got Formica cabinets, this, that, whatever. When you get to the point of pricing the house, what do you mean I can't sell it for the top of that price range we were looking at? And now you got to go and contradict everything that you said. So be honest. Okay? In all of these steps, don't rush to the next step. And when you're done the tour, oh, something else I didn't say. I think we actually go through this a little more next week, but I'll do it now since we got plenty of time. This is a very short training. I'm making longer just because I'm trying to elaborate more to get you guys ready, because I know some of you have listing appointments coming up. Make sure that when you're on that tour, both parties are engaged, that you're talking to both. Because again, if I'm talking and you and I are having this great conversation, and oh yeah, you golf, I golf too. Where do you play? Blah 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 blah. And the wife is just kind of sitting there and not saying anything. I haven't built rapport with both of you. I've built rapport with you. If I have someone that's quiet, I might just ask a general question. Hey, what are your three favorite things about living in this neighborhood? And you answer.
Yeah, that's good.
Because you're the one that's been talking the whole time. And I'm like, oh God, your wife's not answering. What do I do? I'll turn and ask a direct question. So what are your three favorite things? Get them both talking when you're building rapport. Okay. When you're done, you get back to the dining room table. Now you sit down. So now we're going to move to E. So we've got our R of the R-E-A-L. We're going to do our E. Remember, we're keeping it real, guys. That's real. That's their acronym to remember. We're going to engage them. We want to engage them in their conversation. Bev already broke the seal here, but you guys that take my classes know I say this 10 times every week. What are we trying to do in the engaging? Find out what they're committed to. Make sure that you make them part of this process, as we talked about when we opened. If they feel as though they're making this decision with you, as opposed to you telling them what to do or you're making it for them, guess what will happen? They'll easily commit and you'll walk out with the listing like it was simple. I have agents, I didn't mention this before, and some of you have heard this before. I have 2 agents. First of all, when you learn this system after these 4 weeks, if you practice this and do this, you will close 9 out of 10, if not probably 24 out of 25 listing appointments you go on, you're going to walk out with a listing signed. I have 2 agents right now, one from 2015 and one from 2016, that are still on streaks from after taking this class, that they have not been out to a listing appointment and not come out with a listing. And they're both top producers. It's not like they've had 3 listing appointments. They're both top producers, both in New Jersey. One's in Monmouth County, one's in Burlington County. And they still run well, I haven't talked to them in a month or two, but last I heard, coming into this fall, they both still had those streaks. Why? Because they work with partnering with the people so that they feel that way. Ask probing questions. She's dead now. I used to say, don't be Barbara Walters where you're firing at them. But, or whatever reporter you want to put the head. You're not firing at a disgraced politician here. You don't want to make them feel like they're in front of a firing squad getting interviewed. But you want to ask questions that are going to get you to know what you need to know. What do you need to know? Where do they want to move? When do they want to move? Why do they want to move there? The first 2 being the most important. If I told you that it's a little tight on this one now, but let's just use it anyway. If I told you that I wanted to be moved in a new house before the Super Bowl, so I could have, with a big lanai, so that I could have a Super Bowl party, and at the end of our conversation, I tell you, yeah, but I want to wait until after the holidays to list the house. Who's going to win that conversation, you or me? Because if I'm committed to being there by the Super Bowl, I need to have that house listed 2 weeks ago. Not today, 2 weeks ago. And what you can do by understanding what they're committed to, every time I teach this, I hate saying this, but it's the truth. You're going to use their words and throw them back in their face. Listen, I totally understand with the holidays, this, that, whatever, the way you feel. We use what's called feel, felt, found, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. But let's talk about this. If you want to be moved by the Super Bowl, not only do we have to get your house under contract, which we need to get going immediately, but we've got to find you the right house too to get you in the buy. In addition, do you realize that so many people are off of work and actually go and look at houses between the holidays? Oh my God, boom, and I'm signing the agreement now. That's what you're trying to find out when you engage them, so that when they give you something at the end, you can just use what they said for them to make a decision. And we're not trying to be salesy here. We're just trying to help them get to what they're committed to. And that's why it's so important. I've got the plan to get you where you're committed to. Here it is. So find out what they're committed to and engage them. Again, you're at the kitchen table. You're having a conversation, not an interrogation. Keep it two-sided. Make sure that both parties are talking. If one's not talking, turn and ask a direct question to the other one. Get them engaged with you. Get them liking you. Find out what they both want. Well, you know, my husband's just all about getting a townhome at the beach when we retire. He keeps saying townhome. It's because he's lazy and doesn't want to cut the yard. I actually would think maybe a single family might be right for us. Well, maybe the husband was doing all the talking. You didn't know that to this point. The importance of getting it out. Now you realize maybe you show them both. Say, well, listen, let's not make a decision on that today. When we get ready, I'm going to show you both.
Yeah.
And what are they thinking about? Oh, we're going to look at both. Are they thinking about, oh, am I going to use this person to list? No, they're thinking about the dream of where they're going. Listing with you just comes automatic. I think, was there anything else on that slide I wanted to hit? Oh, I went way the wrong way. Sorry. Okay. No, we're good. Advise them. As I said, guys, I've changed since I wrote this. Every time I only teach this once every 6 weeks, 6 months. So every time I say I'm going to go back and do this and I don't, I need to update the PowerPoint. But I'm going to teach you guys an easier streamline on this that makes it very simple. Advise has 3 parts. The first thing you're going to do is advise them about yourself and your company. I'm Bill Zeltman. I have a doctorate in organizational leadership. I have an MBA in digital marketing. I've been selling real estate for over 12 years. I'm the head of the Gulf Palm Home Team, where I have a small selected group of realtors that partner with me, that we all work together. We have sold over 250 houses in that time, amounting to blah, 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 blah. And I tell my story very quickly. I always go back and say, you know, having a degree in digital marketing, 97% of home buyers start their search online. I have over 175,000 followers on social media. The average realtor has about 200. Obviously, when you list with me, people are going to see, you know, more people are going to see your property than they would any other way. Boom. Just something quick like that. Century 21 Integra, Coldwell Banker, what are you guys, Town and Country? I don't remember. I think it's Town and Country. Or Century 21 Northeast. We're all brands by Integra. It's the second largest real estate franchise in the world. Century 21 this is important, is this most recognized name in real estate in the United States. In a recent study, 94% of Americans recognize Century 21 as a real estate company. The number 2 company was only 82%. The number 3 company, by the way, was Coldwell Banker, was 63%. And every other company was less than 50%. You guys, Keller Williams goes around bragging about their crap. They were 34%. So 2 out of 3 people don't even know that Keller Williams is a real estate company. How about that? Don't tell your clients that unless you need to, but just FYI. Why is that important? Because when you go in to start talking about your company, the last thing you want to do is have to spend 45 minutes explaining who your company is. When you say you're with Century 21, they already know who you are. You already have respect because of our name, and you can move on to the next. That's your first A, you and the company. Second A is your marketing plan. This is where the bulk of your time needs to be spent. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about here is how you present what it is that you do in your marketing. And you guys are going to have to make that decision what types of marketing you want to do. Everybody's different. I don't judge. I can advise you and give you some suggestions. But the most important thing that you need to do is ensure that you explain what it is in your plan. In other words, when you have an initiative, don't do what I like to call a laundry list. What's a laundry list? So my marketing plan is very robust. I'm going to put you on the MLS, Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, Trulia, what am I missing? Century21.com. It's going to go in the local newspapers. By the way, that all happens automatically, but then every realtor brags, and that's the biggest part of their brag. I'm going to put you on my Facebook page. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. What is that, guys? That's a laundry list. By the way, I just gave you 8 initiatives. I don't know, I wasn't counting. Go with 8. How long did that take me?
No. 30 seconds.
I'm going to go 20 to 30 seconds. Guess what? I'm out of bullets. So I just gave you a 20-second marketing plan, and I'm out of bullets. You have any questions for me? Yeah, you're going to do anything to sell my house? Because I didn't tell you anything. What I like to teach you guys, and I had one of the handouts that I believe is for today, if it's not, it's next week, but I'll make sure you guys get it. And I think you already have it, and Suzanne, you should have this, and I'll make sure you get it today. It's called FEA, Feature, Explain, Advantage. How many people here, this is a dumb question to you guys, but I want to make a point. How many of you guys know when I say MLS what that means? You guys do, because you're realtors.
Right.
You expect everybody knows what that is, right? Most people don't know what it is. Do you know how many people out there, if you start talking about social media, they don't understand the importance of it, okay? Or maybe they've heard it, it's a buzzword, but they don't know how it works. When you take, let me use the MLS as an example, and I'm going to blow all these other realtors. If they interview another realtor, I'm going to blow them out of the water here. So the other realtor went in and said this: I'm going to put your house in the MLS. I'm going to put your house on Zillow, Realtor.com. They might even say Zillow is the most, searched website, blah, 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 blah. And that's what they gave them, that laundry list. Watch this, just on MLS. I'm going to put your house in the MLS. Feature, explain. So now I'm going to explain it. The MLS is a tool that realtors use to publicize their houses, not only to other realtors. And by the way, 99%, 98%, 97.5%, 98% of people find their house one way or another through the MLS. That's why, and remember I told you at the beginning, we're going to blow out for sale by owners. That's why people that try to sell their houses on their own, 9 out of 10 of them fail, because people don't realize their house is for sale in a wide enough area. The multiple listing service is broadcast worldwide, and our tools here at Century 21 and Brands by Integra not only go out to what the MLS puts, but when we put it in the MLS, it goes out to 4,000 different places, including websites like Zillow, which is the most important, is the most popular one in the world, Homes.com. You see Eugene Levy's kid doing all the ads for now. Our websites. And here you can give a laundry list because you're in the middle of explaining what it is. Philadelphia Inquirer, New York Times, Chicago Tribune, all whatever. Third part, the advantage. Why is this important? As I just mentioned, about 98% of people find their house one way or another because it was placed in the multiple listing service. We want you to get your house seen by more people. This tool, as I said, goes out to 4,000 places and around the world, not just the United States, but around the world. Do you see, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller or Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how that's going to get more people to know your house is for sale and get it to sell faster? Yes. How long did that just take me to do? And I did that off the top of my head, so I was probably been a little bit faster if I was polished, but I was just making up what I was doing.
Minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Right, for one.
Yeah.
For one. So if I have 8 initiatives that I pick, social media being another one, and they're a minute to a minute and a half each, I just filled 20 minutes.
Right.
The other person might tell them 30 things, but they do it in 30 seconds.
Right.
you're going to look like you're a marketing genius, which you are, and you will be after I teach you how to, once you do this, because you're explaining. So feature, explain, advantage, no laundry lists. And when you practice, one of the things, guys, when I run these practices, I'll stop you dead set, not to embarrass you. I never want to do that. I want you guys to be confident and whatever. But I do it because you got to break the habit of wanting to do the laundry list. Everybody does the laundry list. It doesn't work. This works. So practice it. So the first thing I want you to do is pick out your marketing things, what you're going to do. If you need help with that, I'm happy to help you with that. We can do that in a Tuesday session. We call that digital mastery, but this is part of that where we'll help you do that. You might know, hey, I want to, obviously everybody's going to say multiple listing service. So there's that one. With social media, maybe you like doing just listed postcards. It's up to you. That's your second advice. The third advice is the price. Okay? What price should this house be? I'm going to flip over this because, again, I've updated this to 3. And this is actually back to the advising. So let me get to this then before we get to pricing. When you tell them of your features, these are the questions that you want to make sure that they can answer. Yes, I need this. Yes, I need my house to be put in the multiple listing service. Guess what that does? It takes for sale by owner and throws it out. Yes, I want to be on a guy's social media that's got 175,000 followers as opposed to even the Duncan Duo only has a couple hundred people. Yes, I'm going to get more people. I understand that. Because yes, that's different. That's something I heard that I haven't heard other realtors talk about. So always have something that's going to differentiate you. Third, remember, they may be thinking about being for sale by owner. I can't do that. I can't put the house in the MLS. You just paid, right? I can't, even if I wanted to, I can't go pay $1,500 or whatever the heck they're getting these days for you guys to be members of the MLS. And yes, for you guys that live in other places in the country, that's what it costs in Tampa. It's ridiculous. And the final bullet, well, it's going to put more money in your pocket. That's another important one, especially if they're considering for sale by owner. But the final bullet being the most important. Yes, this marketing plan is going to get more buyers through my property than doing it on my own. So every time you put a marketing plan together, if you or a marketing, not plan, an individual marketing initiative that you're going to do, think of these bullet points and make sure that you answer all of them in each one. And it will change this conversation. It'll make you look like a marketing genius. Always explain how you're different and better. And again, I already mentioned this, but feature, explain, advantage. Here it is. Oh, I don't have it on. It's in the next one. So I'll show it to you. Continually validate the power of each particular marketing tool. Use examples, guys. Always have anecdotes. I use this for a client and blah, 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 blah. It worked and brought them a buyer because blah, 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 blah. Tell a story. All right, now we're going to move to the third part of advising, which is the price presentation. Again, we're going to go much deeper into this when we go through the objection handling success, the pricing conversation, but we'll talk a little bit about it here. Review the MLSs from the neighborhood. You can use a tool like RPR. You can use the tool that we have, which is Moxie Present. Let me tell you my pros and cons on both. I love Moxie Present because I can create. Remember the package I gave you for sellers that we did during prospecting for success that you built? You can build this right into Moxie Present and it'll be a part of all of your stuff for buyers and for sellers. You can put your showing tips. You can put that 4-step marketing plan that we talked about, or we'll talk about here and there, here more too. All of those things, right? Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. We will talk about all those things you can put in there and they'll be in a template. And so when you go to do one, they're ready to go. RPR, on the other hand, not that they don't both do it for you, but RPR just makes it so simple because it'll shoot up that price right away. So try them both. Use the one or both or whatever you like to do. Up to you. So again, you've made sure that they need your services. Now you're going to present price because if you take a listing and it's priced wrong, guess what? All you did was take a headache, not a listing. Whose fault is it going to be when nobody comes to see the house?
Sure.
Even though you told them the right price? Still yours. Yep, you got it. Try to keep sold properties only up to the most 7 recent that are the most comparable to the properties. In other words, if it's 4-bedroom houses, make sure all yours are 4-bedroom. It's 2,000 square feet. Try to be as close to 2,000 square feet. Try to keep it in 3 months to 6 months. Markets change. When I got in this business, we were going back 2 years because nothing was selling. It was after the housing crisis, or the mortgage crisis, I should say. Get your broker to see if they've had any houses for sale and get an appraisal that was done in that neighborhood. Get a broker price opinion. People think, oh, it's a broker price opinion. You guys think who do you think does better at pricing houses? You guys or me? You guys. I might have the broker's license, but quite honestly, I can do it. Don't get me wrong. But for some of you, you do this 4, 5, 8, 10 times a month, and you're an expert. Now, if you're newer, maybe you don't know. Maybe I still got you beat. But trust me, 6 months from now, when you're doing these every week, you're going to be way more in the habit of doing it than I am. And that's great. And that's where we want you. But sometimes they want to hear, what's a broker price opinion, third party. One of the other things I'll tell you too, this is off the subject, but this is important. When you ask for feedback on a listing, always get the price opinion, because now it's third party. It's not me telling you need to drop your house $20,000. It's the guy from FEMAX, not Remax, FEMAX, right? They charge their agents too much. Anyway, kind of a joke. But Remax guy says, and it wasn't just the Remax guy, it was the Remax guy's customer who's been out looking at houses. It'll help you. All right. Tell the homeowner that you validated your comps before you show it to them. I actually have another training that before is in caps and should be in caps. Before you lay them down in front of them. And this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to lay these out in front of them. But before you do, you're going to say, these are validated. I have a broker price opinion. I got an appraisal, whatever you want to say. I had another agent that's been in the business for 40 years. Look at them. They knows that neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you make yourself still look like an expert, but just that you bounce it off of somebody. Once you've agreed on the price, this is the easy one. List. Assume the listing. This is not a separate step. It just flows. Never ask a question they can say no to. Okay, do you want to list today? No, I don't. You set yourself up for that one. When they're filling out the paperwork, if I don't say sign, I never say sign. Also, you never set the pen down on the ground. I don't know why I do that sometimes. Like I'll like to take a pen and just put it down. Even in the practice, it just feels awkward. I don't know what it is. It's psychological. Don't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point where they need to sign and hand the pen to the person I have the best rapport with. So if the husband and I got, just have a better rapport than I think I have with the wife, I'm going to take the pen, I'm going to hand it over, I'm going to point, and I'm going to turn to the wife and say, yes, you're moving you're moving to Clearwater. When he's out golfing, what is it you like to do all day? And maybe you tell me you like to go to the pool, or you like to garden, or you like to whatever. And we're going to talk about that. What's that going to do? It's going to distract you. So you're not giving them daggers like, oh my God, you're signing the house away that we had 3 kids and lived here for 30 years and right? Now, once you've signed, I'm going to switch. I'm going to do the same thing. So what is your favorite golf course in Tampa, Clearwater, or wherever you're moving? And then have you sign. Once you're done,
Keep the dream alive.
keep the dream alive. There, I love that. Once you're done, we're going to go through this later. And you can see we're done here. Don't call that 800 number. I don't have it anymore. Once you're done, what we're going to do is go over next steps. And I'm not going to overwhelm you guys with that today because we've already, filled this one up, but we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. You're not done when you have a signed listing agreement. You need to set up a communication plan though. And again, we will talk about that more next week.